Let's see. Okay. So let me just share my screen as well. And so can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, I can, Mathew.
Okay. So thanks
Yeah.
then for joining in. And so Akansha, we're good to go, right? Yeah. Okay. Good morning then, and we focus our session today on cultivating trust and safety. And it's good to, for the next 50 to 55 minutes, I hope to have a very engaging interactive session. And this is how the topics are laid out. First, we'll have introductions. We'll go past the introductions, a quick overview of what the session is about in terms of the definition, the objectives of the session. And I've laid it out in a structured it in this way, taking off from one of my, I would say, a favorite person who I really look up to in terms of podcast and knowledge, Simon Sinek. Okay, he has a video which talks about start with the why. He's also a book which is well thing. So I've used his format. So that's where we'll go with the why first, talk about see a video on what is trust. Then we go into the how, and this is an interesting one which stays with me, the trust equation. Okay, and on the what side, we will focus a lot on the caselets, and based on the we have a lot of caselets in there, so we'll take a look at learning by doing. So just to reiterate what Simon Sinek's start with the why is, Simon talks about always starting with the why, moving to the how, and then to the what. So let's go with each one of these. The why is the purpose. Okay, why do we do what we do? Or the driving force behind everything that we do. So start with the why. Then the how is the process? What actions do we take, or the what is the step-by-step process? And then we get to the what, which are the what do we expect out of this? What do we want to achieve? So this is what we'll see in our thing, in our session today. And the key is this. This is how we've laid it out. So after the introductions, we'll spend a little time on the video for five minutes. Then the trust equation, let's imbibe that. And whatever learnings we have out of the trust equation and the success criteria, we'll take into our caselets and the discussion. So that would be the critical part about our discussions today. All right. Okay. So the definition. The definition is this. Okay. The definition as per ICF is partners with the client to create a safe, supportive environment that allows the client to share freely. That's the important part, client to share freely. And in this relationship, it's of mutual respect and trust. What is this session about? The overview of this is having a safe, open, collaborative environment for effective coaching. Okay. And like I said, in terms of uh, the objectives, we'll look at what are the importance of trust and safety. We'll understand the trust equation, its key components. Then look at the success criteria. The success criteria are these. Basically, what are the skills required? And we'll talk about this. Active listening, empathy, authenticity, and non-judgment communication. Okay. So the key skills is what we will look at. And each of these, it's to be noted that this is what we'll have to look at when we get into the caselets. All right. An important aspect of building trust is also about setting boundaries and mutual expectations. So that is a very, very important one. The third one is, which people usually tend to take for granted, cultural and personal sensibilities. I would put it as cultural diversities and personal centricities. This is what a coach requires very importantly to build up trust. People are from different backgrounds, different upbringings, education, geographies, And that contributes to their comfort levels. And the key part here is to build accountability. Okay, so it has to feel, we have to create an environment as coaches where the clients feel responsible and motivated for their growth. So that's the overview. So let's quickly take a look at what's trust actually. And my request is if you could listen to the video, and the end of it, we'll have a small discussion in terms of uh, what did you take away? Okay. So let me just get to the video. All right. You can see my screen, is it? Just say yes. Okay. And if the audio is good enough, okay, here goes.
We all know that trust is important, but what is it really? So I'll give you an example. It's sort of one of my favorite examples of what a trusting team looks like. A bunch of years ago, I was in Vegas for a business trip, and they were very nice to put me up down the street at the Four Seasons. It's a beautiful hotel. The Four Seasons over here happens to have a coffee bar in the lobby. And so one afternoon, I went and bought myself a cup of coffee. And the barista working that day, named Noah, he was charming and funny and engaging, and I stood there for far too long talking to Noah.
Sorry, just a
as is
minute.
my
I think I
nature-
messed up. Just a minute. Let me just play that again. Sorry about that confusion. All right. Uh, all right.
important, but what is it really? So I'll give you an example. It's sort of one of my favorite examples of what a trusting team looks like. A bunch of years ago, I was in Vegas for a business trip, and they were very nice to put me up down the street at the Four Seasons. It's a beautiful hotel. The Four Seasons over here happens to have a coffee bar in the lobby. And so one afternoon, I went and bought myself a cup of coffee. And the barista working that day, named Noah, he was charming and funny and engaging, and I stood there for far too long talking to Noah. And as is my nature, I asked Noah, do you like your job? Without skipping a beat, Noah said, I love my job. Now, in my line of work, that's significant. Like is rational, right? Mm-hmm. I like the people, I like the work, I get paid well, I like my job. Love is emotional, it's a higher order connection. Like, do you love your wife? I like her a lot, right? It's different.
Right.
And Noah said, I love my job. So for me, I was like, oh, that's a higher order connection. This kid's emotionally connected to his job. So immediately I followed up and said, can you tell me specifically what the Four Seasons is doing that you would even say to me, I love my job? And again, he didn't skip a beat. He said, yeah, throughout the day, managers will walk past me and ask me how I'm doing, ask me if there's anything that I need to do my job better. Not just my manager, any manager. And then he said, I also work at another hotel. He says, and there the managers catch us when we're doing things wrong. He says, there the managers put pressure on us simply to make our numbers and perform. There I like to keep my head below the radar and just get through the day and collect my paycheck. Only at the Four Seasons, he said, do I feel, there's that word again, do I feel I can be myself? What I find so profound about that story is this is the exact same human being in two different companies, in two different leadership environments, and our experience of him will be profoundly different, not because of the person, but because of the place he works, right? It's not the person very often. And so, when we talk about, oh, you can't get good people these days, I'm like, it's like the only common factor in all my failed relationships is, right? It's like if there's no good people ever that you can hire, I'm thinking, there's one common factor in all those people who are leaving you.
That might be you.
And Noah's experiences, you know, we have this twisted thoughts about how we get the most out of our people. Like, how am I going to get the most out of our mate? People are not a towel that you wring them out, how much you can get out of them. You know, the question is, what kind of environment can I create in which my people can work at their natural best?
All right. So what did you take away from that video? Any key observations, thoughts, what struck you?
Yeah, I think, one thing clearly is that you make people feel that their work matters.
Okay.
And, they are people, they are not objects. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that they do matter, their work matters, and their welfare matters to you.
Okay.
I think
So
that's important. Yeah.
okay, so if you noticed in that video, he says one place it's all about, hey, you're not doing this. The other place is about not just his manager, but all managers. Okay. Now here's a tough question for reflection. Okay. Keeping this in context. You must have heard about a couple of incidents in the recent past at workplace, unfortunate incidents happening with youngsters or with people, okay? One committing suicide, another falling off at the workplace. Question is that an environment where trust is built compared to what we heard on the video?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So I would like
Yeah.
you to just keep that in context because that is an Indian context which you have. And just let's look at what we need to go further on this. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So my screen is still visible, right?
No, we are back to
Back to
regular.
okay, a regular
Yeah.
one. So I have to share and I have to get to the panel and this. Okay. So that's the video and the thing. Okay. So let's take a look at what is the trust. How do the how we move from the why we are doing it, which is to create an environment, okay, a safe and collaborative environment. And then we go into the trust equation. Okay. This is the trust equation, and Charles Green is the guy who came out with this. This is something that I really use in my coaching as well as in my workplace. The trust is a simple equation. It is C plus R plus I divided by S. Okay. C plus R plus I divided by S. C is credibility. R is reliability. I is intimacy. And S, it's divided by S, which is self-orientation. So there are some quick ones which are mentioned in here as definitions. Basically, credibility is they know their stuff, which means as a coach, it is, hey, as a coach, I know the coachee feels I know my stuff. Reliability is always delivering. Intimacy is about the coachee feeling safe with us. And self-orientation is about, are we focused, as a coach, are we focused on ourselves or the coachees or clients' interest? Okay. So a quick one here, just keeping this in mind, what do you think builds up credibility, reliability, intimacy? What do you think? Each one of this. Let's take one by one. Just a couple of examples. What do you think builds up credibility?
Credibility, I think, comes from uh, preparation. Preparation of,
Okay.
having read the subject,
Okay.
also of coming prepared for the audience,
Okay.
which means, it's just not the subject because every audience has a context.
Exactly. Okay.
So coming prepared for the context, it's also about, yeah, I think these two are
These two.
about
Okay.
credibility. Yeah.
And prior to this, obviously, your experience, your certifications, the type
Those
of
are
all
given.
the, those are a given. But coming prepared for this, having your notes, knowing what is already being discussed, if at all, your contractual agreement, all of that, plus being there for the session, having a session plan in mind. Okay. And more importantly, from our standpoint, looking at how are we going through the the markers as, okay? So are those
Yeah,
considered,
yeah.
okay? What about reliability? What do you think builds up reliability?
Reliability would be, I mean, they deliver what they promise or what they are signed up for.
Oh, okay.
So,
So,
for example, it's like if I go to a doctor
hmm,
and I ask and I say I have a fever, and
mhm,
he gives me medicine,
hmm,
and the medicine works, within 2 3 days or whatever.
yeah,
I find that reliable.
absolutely. Okay.
As
And
simple as that.
as simple as that. Basically, they walk the talk, correct?
Mm, mm.
And though, the coach also stays within the coaching framework, arrangements. Okay. The boundary lines are quite clear. And if the same coach says he'll share something before, okay, additional resource, whatever is there. Okay. The coach is there. Okay. What about intimacy? What do you think builds up intimacy?
Intimacy is, where the person feels safe
Mm.
because he or she feels that, they can relate to you, that they can be vulnerable without being judged.
Yeah, so well put. So well put, Kingshuk. So
Yeah.
so you use two good words there: vulnerability without being judged, no condemnation. All right. What do you think is actually detracts, which is the self-orientation? Okay. What do you think
Yeah.
takes away from building trust?
See, in the process of, doing all this, if my interest,
Mm,
supersedes the client's interest, clearly
mm,
the self orientation is high.
mm,
But if I'm at the service of the client, the
mm.
client feels that, and therefore the numerator is higher. But
Yes.
at some place, if they feel that, this guy is, doing whatever to meet his or her needs,
Mm,
I'm just a dog and pony in the conversation.
yes.
So
Yeah,
then they
that's
feel,
that's that's a big one. So focusing on the client's requirement, client's objective, client's goal.
yeah, in their service.
Perfect. Very well put. Just keep these in mind, especially when we get into the caselets, okay? So C plus R plus I, and it's taken away by self-orientation. So let's understand the trust equation very quickly here. Okay, it is credibility, like you rightly said, Kingshore, is the coach's expertise, knowledge, ability to demonstrate insights. Okay, it's the experience coming into play. Reliability is being consistent in our actions, walking the talk, dependability, basically. Okay. And intimacy is about sense of security. Okay. You're not judging the client, you're encouraging openness, sharing. The coachee or the client can be vulnerable without being judged. All right. And orientation, again, we discussed this. It's focusing on the client's need rather than the coach's agenda. It's not about us as coaches, but the client. Okay. And how do we balance the equation? We need to know, like you rightly said, top up the numerator and the denominator needs to keep coming lower. Okay. Now, here's a simple one to get that as well. Okay. If you look at it, credibility, reliability, and intimacy build up trust while self-orientation pulls it down. So credibility it is state the truth. Okay. We don't, as coaches, we don't necessarily have to show that we are Superman. We aren't everything. Okay. It's okay to say that, hey, suppose the coachee asks for something, you can always say, hey, I'm not a master at this. I will check it out and revert to you. Okay. But it is good to state what we do have. Okay. So that's an important thing. So integrity comes in here and driving credibility. Okay. And for reliability, it's always that old, we've heard this in corporates, under promise and over deliver. So that's a key one always. For intimacy, it's focusing on the who, okay, attention on the people, confidentiality, okay. So all of this is making it a safe place, reiterating this, okay. Focus on the who while we go about the what, okay. And for overcoming this self-orientation, we need to show empathy, okay. And this comes in only when we have walked in their shoes, or we can't, it's more than the talk. It is, you can't just say, oh, I understand how you feel, or okay, I can understand what you're going through, but then we don't know what else is there. Okay. You're not backing it up. So here are some of the critical, okay. Okay. Here are some of the critical success factors. Okay. Uh, and okay, that's fine. Let's go with this. So some of the critical success factors are listed here, and this is what we will talk about. Okay. Developing the key skills for this. What are the key skills? Then we'll talk about setting boundaries to building trust. Uh, we talked about this, the cultural differences, diversities, and the personal sensibilities required for building trust and building accountability. So we'll just quickly dwell into this. These are key factors again. Keep in mind that this is what we will hinge our case-led discussion on. Okay, I've just kept this here, the trust equation here at the side, so that we can always look at that as well as a reminder. Okay, developing key skills. What do we do? The first part is active listening, focusing on the client, no interruptions, no judgment. Okay. And what are the techniques we as coaches can use? Paraphrasing, mirroring, summarizing. Okay. This is important to show and demonstrate active listening. The second part is empathy. Okay. Understanding the feelings of the client. This is where we focus on the who. What are you feeling? How do you feel right now? Okay. And then it is about building rapport, acknowledging, and in some cases, validating their emotions. Be authentic, which is this is the preparedness you talked about, Kingshok, earlier, coming prepared in, which is where they know that you're credible. And we also build up reliability, always bringing our full self in here, being totally engaged and maintaining the transparency, honesty. Okay. Most important part, our communication should be non-judgmental. We have to talk with the clients in an open mind, no assumptions, no presumptions at all, which is an important part. Language should be neutral, and we have to be very, very sensitive as to so that our clients can express themselves freely. Okay. These are the 4 skills that we'll talk about. Okay. Keep these again in mind. I'll summarize this later at the end of these things, but keep this in mind when we approach the caselets. Why I'm talking about the caselet is that is learning by doing. Okay. To how to build trust. How do we set boundaries? Why is it important? It defines the coaching relationship, and we have to be professional as well as show respect. Okay. Showing respect again builds up intimacy. Okay. So while we're talking about these factors, I would like you to think about how does it build up in which aspects of the trust equation. Okay. Clear boundaries, that means there's no confusions. Okay. What is included in the discussion is clear. What's not is also very clear. Okay. No misunderstandings. How do we set the boundaries? It has to be collaborative with the client. Okay. So that there is clear mutual understanding. Basically, it's about session timings. How do we communicate? Availability, outreach. When can you contact? Okay. So, for example, there are some clients who would say, okay, I'll contact you after 10 in the night, but the coach is not available. It's better to state it up front and say, hey, I'm available for you during this time. Oh, can I call you? No, please text me. Okay. So those are the ones. Those are examples. What are the benefits? There is clarity, there's mutual respect, and there is absolutely no confusion. So can you just help me with setting boundaries? Which aspect of the trust equation does it impact? Which of these?
Setting boundaries would come into intimacy.
Okay,
Um, it would also come in reliability because you have to promise what you can deliver, what you can't.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So it's both of these, reliability and intimacy. Are you seeing how these success criteria is impacting the trust equation? Okay. Helps
That's
moving along.
true. That's true. Yeah.
Okay. That's important. Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, in fact, what I was saying was that your preparation, which is part of your credibility, would decide, how clear you are in setting your boundaries. Because
Ab-
if you're not prepared, you can walk in with, some preconceived notions, and
Absolutely.
you can go overboard or under deliver.
Absolutely. And then what we want to avoid is a he said, she said, I said, you said type of a thing. Okay. You're very right. Your credibility will define how much clearly you set the boundaries, which increases your reliability and builds up intimacy. Okay. Very well put.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
So let's go with the cultural differences and the personal sensitivities. This is a very, very important point here again. Okay. Clients are from different backgrounds, cultures, geographies, upbringing, education, experiences. So their communication styles are different. And we as coaches need to be aware and cognizant of that. Okay. We have to, and this cultural context, it only helps to build up the coach and client relationship. Okay. How do we adapt to the differences? We need to be aware of, we need to adjust to clients' needs based on their backgrounds. Okay. And maybe it includes adjusting to their language, the speed of speech, feedback styles, their learning styles. All these are very, very different. Okay. And this helps in creating an inclusive environment where the clients feel valued, respected, and understood. So back to that exercise again. So working with cultural and personal sensitivities, which part of the culture of the trust equation does it impact?
Uh, I think I would again say intimacy.
Yes.
Intimacy, it's important because the boundaries are very important. I think in a way, this also is about boundaries because
Yes.
cultural and personal sensitivities is so much about boundaries. What is acceptable, what is not.
Okay. So let's
So
ask a question. Do you think it impacts self-orientation as well? Because you're making it about them. We are adjusting
exactly,
to them. Okay.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it decreases. Okay. So you're demonstrating that it's not about me, it's about you.
It's
Okay.
about
This is
you.
the style it's about you. So we are letting them know as coaches. Okay.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So how do we, building accountability, why is it important for trust? Okay. It builds a sense of ownership in the clients. Okay. And basically, this is about getting them to drive towards their goals because the call is all about them. Okay. This can be a shade of gray in many coaching relationships. The coach is not meant to push, but it is to get the client to have a sense of ownership in their goals. Okay. We are encouragers. We have to get them to track their progress, reflect on their actions. That's the key part. How do we build accountability? Smart goals, nothing like those. And regular check-ins, review mechanisms, follow up. Okay. And encouraging them to take a self-assessment, reflect on the progress. So how do you think we've progressed on this call over the last 2 weeks? Regular touch points of maybe on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, all of that. And what are the benefits of building accountability? It helps the client step by step. They feel encouraged. Okay, this is working. And once they taste success in small steps, then they are ready for the bigger leaps ahead, leading to faster achievement of goals. Okay. So again, a quick one. So building accountability, how does it build trust?
Building accountability, it builds trust because the client gets to know that for the money he or she is putting in, there is some result going to come. It's not a
Absolutely.
one-way ticket.
Okay. Uh, and this one actually impacts all four. Okay. It takes away self-orientation because we are telling the client it's about you, your goals, your achievements, you celebrate success. Okay. It builds up our credibility as a coach because we are saying, hey, this coach holds us accountable to our success. We are saying what we will do because at the start of the engagement, we always, so it builds up all the aspects, C plus R plus I, and reduces the self-orientation. All right. So very quickly, these are the success criteria: developing skills, active listening, empathy, authenticity, all of that, setting boundaries, navigating, and okay, and accountability. All right.
Yeah.
I have 6 caselets for us. Okay. I will demonstrate the first one in terms of how we're going to go about it. Okay. So let's move first. Okay. The thing is, this is the situation. Okay. I would want you to think through 2 parts. What is going to be, this is your build up, the credibility part. Okay. How are you going to prepare? And what is the outcome to build trust? Okay. Situation is this. Okay. Although I've included, both genders as names, you can say the coach is working with James, a mid-level manager, struggling with his leadership style. And during the first session, James seems reluctant to open up, fearing judgment for his past mistakes. So please reflect on and tell me what would be your coaching strategy, and then how would they build up trust and what would be the outcome. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep in
So,
mind, this is the first session. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So I think the first thing I would like to ask James is what is he looking forward to from the coaching engagement? You know,
Okay.
where does he think I can be of, you know,
Okay.
assistance?
Could I encourage you to make it in the first person? Say that you're talking to James itself. So what
Okay.
exactly would be your first
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
lines?
So James, thank you for reaching out. Our conversation is completely confidential, and as we get started, I would like to know what did you have in mind when you reached out, you know, for this engagement?
Okay. Okay. Fair point. Okay. Now, this is what you think. So now you have a couple of sentences or questions which you phrase in the light of the trust equation. What were you trying to build on?
So I was trying to assure him about the safety part, the
Ah,
confidentiality part I mentioned,
yes.
and I'm going on reliability now, which is, you know, what is the
Perfect.
outcome he's looking
Yes.
for,
Okay.
because based on that, I can prepare my next statement. You know, that's
Big.
the credibility part.
Perfect. Okay. So let's see. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
And because I'm asking what is he looking for,
Mm,
I'm putting my self orientation low because it's not about me,
exactly.
it's about him. It's about him.
Absolutely.
So what will
And
make it
by
a success for him?
absolutely. And by doing that, you're also showing that you want to build up intimacy, correct?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So let's see in this case what happened. So the coach focuses on active listening. Okay. Asking questions to open it up, a space to express himself. Okay. I understand why you might feel this way. And over time, when you keep encouraging him to open up, basically drawing them out, reiterating that this is a safe place, then the coachee or the client starts to think. Basically, if you notice here, the client realizes that the coach isn't there to criticize, but to help to improve. No judgment. Okay, that's what you had mentioned earlier. Non-judgmental space, demonstrating empathy. The coach earns the trust. Okay, and then becomes more vulnerable. Okay, so that is the great part. Is that working fine? Okay, here are a few more. So you're getting the hang of this, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's go. I mean, do you agree with me that learning by doing is the best part? Okay,
Yes, it is, of course.
okay, let's go with this then. Okay, so let's go with this here. The coach Sandra is coaching a senior leader, Ravi, at a large multinational company. He has some reservations about sensitive information. Okay, and he's thinking that details might leak out, affect his reputation. For all you know, the senior leader Ravi could be a CFO or a finance guy who's always worried about data. You never know. Sorry. Go ahead. What's the coaching strategy and how would you build up trust?
So would Jigar like to go for this?
Yeah, Jigar.
Thanks. I was just thinking, and I jumped in while the equation I think was midway, but I will give an attempt. I think
Yeah.
Sandra will have to
No,
make a
play.
clear statement.
Okay.
We'll have to make a clear statement stating the objective why they are connected for this, and this will remain with them. So the
So Jigar, sorry, I'm interrupting, but can you make it in the first person so that when it's you play the coach, okay? Sandra replaced by Jigar.
right.
Talk to me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Ravi.
yeah.
Let's role play it.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Ravi, we understand we are meeting here for the purpose to discuss and come up with some solution which uh, can address to the issue or the conflict that you are dealing with, and you do not have to worry about my level and the level that you are in, and you can filter the information that you feel may not want to be passed on to me, and directly or indirectly you can give some examples, and we will try to address it together.
Okay. Well,
Does it?
it's okay. It's a tough one, right? When you're
It's a
doing it in
tough one.
exactly. So
On the
that's why that's why I would encourage you to play it in the first person. Okay. And in all these other examples which you come up with, I'll be the coachee. Okay. You'll play the coach. Okay. We'll replace the names with, okay. Play it back to me as the coach. Okay. Oh, okay. So even if you want to take some time, so you can even ask me a couple of things. I'll play it back as the coachee or the client. Okay. So let's see what happened in this case. Okay. In this case, here you go. Okay. Confidentiality, the coach goes with confidentiality is the cornerstone. Okay. Strict the boundaries, laying the boundaries. That's what we talked about. Okay. And talking about written agreements, confidentiality terms, reiterates focusing a lot on the agreement part of it. Okay. So that's where, because his thing is about confidentiality, his thing is about sensitive information leaking out, all of that. So very critical to get down to the confidentiality part of it, building trust. Okay. Then the client feels assured. And once he knows that the information is safe and what are the checks and balances which are in place, this leads to deeper discussions, handling the issues, and progressing in the goals. All right. Is that making sense, Jigar? Okay.
No, yes. The only thing is, obviously, we'll have to be prepared, to make that statement. But yes, I get the
Okay.
sense,
So yeah,
the
fair point, which
sensitivity
means,
point,
yeah,
right?
yeah, you're very right. To build up credibility, we can't ham our way through. Okay. We can't just make it up on the fly. We have to be very clear about, okay, this is the agreement. Maybe have a copy of the agreement, point out to which clause, or say, here are the IT mechanisms which help. Okay. Here is, although it's a recording, it's going into the cloud. It's not on my personal thing, whatever. Those are the things which you have to be prepared about. Very well put. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Jigar, you have the privilege of going for this again. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Here's the third one. Okay. Let's go with this. Okay. So Jigar, you are the business coach, and I'll play Priya, who's the founder of a tech startup. Okay. Now, Jigar, you have lots of years in the technology circle, and I'm a founder of a tech startup. I'm skeptical as the coach. Priya is skeptical of coaching, that most coaches don't understand fast-paced nature of our industry. Okay. So we'll replace Priya with Mathew and John with Jigar. So Jigar, let's go. What's your coaching strategy and how would you build up trust?
Okay. Priya, thanks for connecting. And this is the first
Yeah.
connect that we are having. what we will do is I will need your help to understand your business and your approach of this particular business and a particular challenge that you are facing. And I will use all my experience experience in both ways, wherever I have excelled and wherever I felt that I didn't, so that I can exactly tell you the pitfalls and not just the wins, so that you can you can have your uh, things resolved in terms what you are looking for your particular business. So we will do that balancing game with my experience and what you are expecting. Does that
But John,
sound good?
yeah, it sounds good, John. It's nice when you say it, but I'm very skeptical. I've talked to many people, and all of them say they have the experience, but my startup is very, very different. So I'm not sure how you're going to help out on this. And times have been changing. In technology, it's so fast paced. So how would you be able to help me as a coach?
So if you can let me know if that is feasible for you to share what were you have facing challenge with previous coaches and I don't want specific response, but you can generalize where they only helping you with uh, providing solutions, or were there discussions happening on what are the challenges as well and how they have dealt with their challenges. Maybe we can try that way, and I can level up or level down myself accordingly to balance and come to your page. Uh,
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's pause here. Now, Kingshuk, what did you observe from this conversation thus far?
So, yeah, so I think, John is flexing his style,
Yes.
to understand Priya's context, Priya's world,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. It makes Priya feel heard, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on the other hand, it is going back to a past
Exactly.
which may not take us forward, because if you go back to the past, the past wiring becomes hardened,
Exactly.
and she doesn't think of solutions. She probably goes into a complaint mode. Probably, I'm not sure,
Perfect. Very well
but
put. Okay,
could
so
be avoidable.
yeah, let's talk in terms of the trust equation. Okay. When you're talking about the past, what are you doing or not doing with regard to CRINS?
So first of all, we don't know which of these parameters did not work for Priya. You know,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
was it was it credibility? Was it reliability? Was it intimacy? Was it orientation?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a trap.
It's a bit of a
Uh,
trap. So, which means that when you're
we don't.
saying, so for example, when John was saying, Jigar in this case was saying, hey, I level up or level down, he's bringing the orientation back to him. Okay. Whereas, so
Yeah.
you're building up the numerator or the denominator, which will take down the trust. Okay. So that's
Yes.
what we have to be. So focusing on the past always is tricky, because while you want to build up credibility, you might actually be taking the self orientation could be about yourself, whereas it's not that. But what John did right was, hey, tell me what did not work. He was
Yeah.
asking for experience. Okay.
Flexing. Yeah.
Flexing, exactly. Okay. So it's a good one. Here is where probably John missed out an opportunity. Jigar in this case missed out and say, hey, here is what I've had. Just sharing. Okay. Building up trust could mean reiterating your past experiences, credibility, and seeing. Okay. And then providing some impacts. Again, this is the timing is very it's critical here as to when do you get this across, because we have to balance between credibility and self-orientation. Okay. A key here
Yeah.
is that we have to show knowledge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that is building on the credibility part. So here it is all about building the credibility, balancing it with the self-orientation. All right.
so
Okay.
here we are assuming that we know Priya is facing a particular
That is what the case facts tell us, no?
yeah.
The- okay. Case fact, she's a founder. Okay.
Right.
So go with the case facts, because
Yes.
this is
Okay.
what the case list is. Okay.
Hmm.
Again, no assumptions, Jigar. That's the
Yes,
key.
yes. No, true. And that is, I think, definitely in reality, it will be like at least
Yes.
that sort of information or the
Yes.
readiness or preparedness will be there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Agree.
Okay. So we're not letting you guys off so easily. We want you to be experts at building trust. So let's go with caselet 4, and Kingshuk, it's all yours now. Okay. I think Kingshuk has stepped away for a while. So Jigar, do you want to try this in? Okay. Till Kingshuk
Yeah.
gets back. Yeah. Okay. Here's Lena, a business coach, coaching Daniel. And Daniel is a CFO of a growing company. During the initial sessions, Daniel expresses frustration. Results of coaching are not, it's not working. It's not, coaching is not working. And he's not sure whether coaching will be worth his time. All right. So, and Jigar, this is what we face always as coaches. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So this is very relevant. So take your time and think through this.
Yeah.
What will be your coaching strategy? And like I said, as always, I'll be Daniel, and I'll be a tough Daniel. Okay. This time I'm calling it out. Okay. So that I'll push back a little bit. So let's
Yep.
try and work that. And yeah, go for it. Take a couple of minutes. Take a couple of minutes to
Yes.
dwell on this, because it's important here. Keep the trust equation in mind. Okay, C plus R plus I divided by S, and just look at the case lit also in terms of the key words that are used. Okay, CFO, growing company, frustration, coaching not apparent, not immediately working, unsure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got few points, and I'll jump. Try to jump on this. So,
Yeah.
hi Daniel. Thanks for connecting. As we start this session, I understand, in past you haven't got good results, uh, but let me share a few examples of my experience with some of the other CFOs and other professionals in other companies, growing companies. Typically, coaching that does take time, and there is a lot of aspects of the inputs and output that have to be factored. And frankly, I'm not sure if that much of the support was given for you to really uh, to try out, or was there hand holding was given for you to try out uh, all that was required or was coming out of the coaching discussion. But if we really give time to this, the the desired results will definitely come out, is what I will assure. I will give you one or two examples, and that's how I will build upon.
I hear
Basically,
you.
I am picking up that immediate thing, right, where we say is frustrated on the results aren't immediate apparent.
Okay. So here's one thing. Okay. So I will come back to you in this case and say, I hear you. But see, now here is where the case split is important. Okay. He's already been coaching with you for some time. Okay. Maybe 3 sessions, 4 sessions, whatever. And that's where he's saying it's not coming through immediately. So there is no data saying that he's been coaching with others. He's coaching with you. Okay. So okay. Or maybe he's tried it, it's not working. Okay. So the key is, see, this is where understanding the client's context is important. The personal sensitivities which we talked about, right? The background, that's very important. Okay. All right. So is that fair? Is that clear,
Right,
Jigar?
right,
Yeah.
right. So
Okay.
in that case, would a statement to understand, like in the past, in the previous caselet, right? We tried to get that information from Priya,
Exactly,
or
exactly,
right, sort of,
exactly.
partially, sort of.
So you
Just
ask,
ask.
exactly, ask for what, so what is your frustration about?
Right.
So ask open-ended questions. That's what we were talking about. Building trust does not mean making statements. It's getting the
Asking,
content,
right.
asking open-ended questions.
Working on that self.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Constantly working on them. Okay. Getting them to reflect more. Okay. First is setting the expectations. Okay. This is the drawing the boundaries, which we talked about, correct?
Right.
Okay. You did this well. It's a long-term process, measurable goals. Okay. And it's about here in this case, what we can do is, because, okay, what we can do is draw out more case facts. Okay. What do you think is causing your frustration? What aspects of it? Okay. Then ask the client. This is also a limiting belief. Okay. Hey, it's not working. Ask. Okay. I understand how you're feeling, but what aspects of this are, get him down to sharing what is the data. Take him back to the measurable goals you had put in the beginning. Okay. Those are the
Reference
ones.
those.
Reference it back.
Right.
Okay. Because that way you're building up your credibility again. Then you're saying, hey, these are the goals you set for yourself. This is the timeline you set. If you want to reset it, it's fine. Okay. Let's understand what we need to do. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. So basically being transparent about the whole process. And this is the drawing the boundaries, aligning the expectations. Okay. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Is this helping, Jigar?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's it's all about that awareness about these three, and I think it will come over practice for
Yes.
sure. But
Yes.
definitely, getting these key boundaries to work around and not stepping out. In hindsight, we do sometimes step out and jump onto sometimes solving immediately, rather even asking. Right, that was rightly pointed out, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So in the interest of time, we'll stay with one more case list. Okay. Okay. So this is about Marcus, and we're talking about consistency and the reliability. Okay. So my request, Jigar, is look at the caselet because every word counts. Okay. Here we're talking about being consistent and reliable. C plus R plus I, this is the R. Okay. It's a newly promoted manager, Marcus, and the business coach is Carla. And what is the objective? Transition into the new role. Okay. First few meetings have happened, and the coach notices Marcus is canceling sessions at the last minute or arriving late, signaling lack of commitment. Oops. Okay. What's your coaching strategy and what's the outcome? Let's go for this. Take a minute or two. Tell me when you're ready, Jigar.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
So hi, Marcus. Thanks for joining again today. Before we really get started with today's session, what I would want to share, and probably, in fact, before sharing, let me even ask you: are there any specific challenges that you are facing uh, for attending these sessions? Because I see that you've been canceling last minute. Is there something that we could discuss and agree on another time slot?
Okay. I've been having this challenge of, I'm so busy, it's a new role, a lot of expectations. I'm still getting clarity on this. I'm not very sure whether, I can commit to this. I know coaching is important, but my work is more important. So I can't help it. Last minute I get called into meetings and meetings extend. So, these are challenges that I have. So how can you help me?
So what we could do is we could also in one of these sessions discuss about what are the recurring challenges that you are facing and help you plan, replan, organize your day, your priorities. We have to understand that when you're transitioning into the new role and the purpose that we are together for in this journey has to have the output so that you can ensure that you are attending your meetings on time.
Mm,
Could be that you are not planning sometimes for other
mm,
meetings as well, and
mm,
maybe the work deliveries. So if we consistently work on reassessing and getting your planning better,
mm,
I think that will help, at least
mm,
in our objectives, to be there together in this whole relationship of a coach, and we can achieve the results in your new role faster.
mm. Now let's pause right there. Okay. How did you feel about this particular role play?
Slightly better, I felt.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. You were much more assured. You knew the right words. You were playing for the client's need, right? So,
Mhm.
moral of the story is trust does not come just easy. We have to keep practicing this.
Practicing, right?
Trust equation is you have to make it a habit. Okay, so let's quickly look at this. Okay, you are consistent, same as what you did. Okay, always follows through, addresses behavior, direct but supportive. Okay, you have also done this. You reiterated the importance of the commitment, and you say, hey, we'll work together in improving your thing so that we can meet your objective. So what did you do? You built up trust. You built up intimacy. You kept saying it's about you, right?
Right.
And what did they say? Hey, value it. So consistency and reliability, working on the reliability and the thing. Okay. Is that making sense? Jigar, you feeling a little
Yes,
more
yes.
comfortable now?
Better,
Yeah.
definitely.
Kingshuk, you know what? When you took a break, Jigar went through the grind and felt a little better. So high five to you, Jigar.
Yeah, good. Good
Thanks to
work,
the
Jigar.
guest at Kinshuk's place.
See, it's a safe place. Okay. All right. Very nice. Okay.
I couldn't shoo him off, so I had to.
Okay. So this was good. Okay. The last one then, since Kingshuk is back. Okay. And this is the last one which we'll have. Uh, Kingshuk, you'll take this. Okay. Keep in mind, this is the caselet. The words are important. Mutual accountability is what we're focusing on. Marketing director, Elliot is a thing. The coach works with Sarah, marketing director. She wants to improve team performance. She feels overwhelmed. She doesn't know where to start. Okay. What is going to be your thing? Take a couple of minutes. And you know what? Kingshuk, role play this with Jigar. Jigar,
Hmm.
you be Sarah. Okay.
Okay.
You be Sarah. Okay. And you don't have to be
Okay.
Sarah. Just replace the names. Play with your own names. So Kingshuk, you're the coach. Jigar, you are the marketing director. Okay. Let it play
Yeah.
out.
Sure.
Let it play out for a bit, and I'll come and pause it when we can. Okay. Let's go, gentlemen. Whenever you're ready. Kingshuk, all yours.
Sure. Sure. So, Jigar, is it okay? Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Jigar, for taking out time. And do we have about 5 minutes for a conversation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So what we're going to discuss, Jigar, is completely confidential. It stays between two of us. I'll be following the code of ethics mentioned in Coach Federation. So if it's okay, shall I begin?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned that you want to improve your team's performance as a marketing director. Did I get that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Right. And how do you feel about this whole situation right now?
So I feel so overwhelmed, and there are so many team members, and with varying performances, I really, not sure whom to prioritize and what. With so many team members and me under me, uh, I am I'm really feeling overwhelmed, confused.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, understand. And what are you confused about, Jigar?
So because there are so many team members, I'm not sure with whom should I focus what. Uh, it's just so much. I don't have the bandwidth so much to really focus on to work on my team's performance.
Hmm. Hmm. And when you say you have so many team members, if you were to pause and think, yeah, um, which particular area comes to your mind, which would be important to take up and examine first? Suppose you're on your own, you're quiet in a quiet place alone.
Hmm. Like, how do I think about and what kind of input should I give you?
So, so for example, when you say team's performance, and different people have different kinds of performance. What worries you? Is it the person? Is it the performance?
It's the performance. It's varying performance between all the team members. They're not supportive each other, and there are
Okay,
challenges because of that, leading to impacting the performance.
okay, okay. So, varying performance among team members is what is worrying you. Would that be the
Yeah.
right thing?
Yes, and them not supporting each other.
Not supporting each other. Okay, okay,
Okay,
understood.
pause there, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Now, okay.
Thank
So,
you,
what are your
Jigar.
reflections about this?
I
What are you?
think
What?
I think
Go ahead.
Kinshuk really made that self reliability. Sorry, the
Yes.
word I'm missing. That the
Yeah.
S piece was very much the focused here.
Self-oriented. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, self focused.
Yeah. Okay.
So he was trying to get that insights
Perfect.
on
Perfect.
what exactly needs to be worked out.
He's peeling it down to understand the core
Right.
issues of your
Yes.
issues. Okay. He was asking you open-ended. He reiterated the confidentiality. Okay. And he was demonstrating reliability, saying, hey, it's about you. He's trying to build intimacy and saying, if you're in a place by yourself, he
Mm.
was getting you to relax. Kinshuk. Isn't that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he was
Absolutely.
building up trust. How did you feel, Kinshuk?
Yeah, I mean, I could feel the overwhelm. He really did that really well,
Yeah.
uh, and I could feel the overwhelm. In his expressions. That was really well done.
Fair,
I couldn't have asked for more, and I
excellent.
had to really think as to if I'm in Jigar's place. What is really in my mind. You know,
Absolutely. So, and Jigar
it's
put it well, saying that it is varying people.
yeah,
We are not working as a team, different levels of
yeah,
performance, all of that. So, what I was just saying before is trust might be an equation. It's not good enough being aware about it. It has to be practiced. Okay, it has to be practiced over and over again. And you know what? It is not just professional settings. Although the case list we've discussed are professional settings, okay, it has to be practiced in all the relationships we have, small groups, one-on-one, and especially as you head towards Diwali, it is a good time to build up trust with your immediate family, your circle of influence, your friends, and your professional colleagues. So let's see what happened here. Okay, specific actions, review the progress here, accountability, partnership, trust deepens, okay, and making it more productive. All right, gentlemen, thank you for this, and I hope the session was useful. And Jika, you
Yes.
very
came
much.
diving into the deep end of the pool. You came in at the equation. I hope.
Good work.
I
Okay,
said I
Good
just
work.
saw
Yeah,
the
thank you.
message, I think on the WhatsApp group, and I saw it late, and I thought, okay, let me start. And I'm starting my journey into coaching very much recent. I'm very newbie here.
uh,
I just finished my first session here, so
so when we say
Good,
trial
good.
by fire, that's what you got. Okay. Now, are you equipped to talk about the trust equation? Go into your, your cohort and give them gyan on what you learned. Okay.
first I'll practice myself.
Okay. All the
No, but
very
it was
best.
good, amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kingshuk and Jigar.
Thank you, Matthew.
Well, please
Thank
stay
you,
in
Jigar.
touch
Stay
and
in touch.
yeah, stay
Yeah,
in touch. God bless
sure,
you.
for sure.
Great.
Great session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate.
All the
Thank you.
best. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.